at the convention. Now, I want to go into the convention a wee bit, and you can watch this back on YouTube or you can watch it back on Facebook. I'm not going to wait for the live people to pick up a live. Okay. Now, arrived in Dundee, met another truck driver, Doug Copley, and we parked the car at his house and went down to the convention. Got to the convention, absolutely fantastic. In the morning session was brilliant. Humza Yousaf, the First Minister of Scotland, after some condolences about Winnie Ewan and the history of Winnie Ewan, for those that didn't know the history of Winnie, absolutely wonderful speeches, and then it came to the First Minister. The First Minister got up and he laid out what he thought was the right route to independence. Now, what we got for the First Minister, hi folks, what we got for the First Minister was he sees the next UK general election or the next election as a plebiscite election. And he said majority of SNP MPs, and he will demand that a negotiation start with Westminster to wind up the union. Now, that was all great stuff. And after Humza had explained to us the process as he's seen it, so plebiscite election, the next one, general election is going to be a plebiscite election, and then he laid out how he thought the negotiations would go, provided we get the majority of MPs and the majority of votes. Now, he never said 50% plus, he said majority of MPs and majority of votes. That's very important. Other MPs were talking about 50% plus when they got up to speak, but Humza was quite clear. Majority MPs, majority of votes. He didn't mention 50% plus one. He mentioned a majority of MPs, majority of votes. I listened very carefully, as you imagine I would. So the morning session actually went in the direction the convention was supposed to go in. The problem seemed to start in the afternoon, when it got to the point where the people who had filled out cards and handed in cards were requested to speak about the route to independence. Now, Doug, myself and Sarah were watching the chair and the person sitting next to the chair who were chairing the convention shuffling through these cards. We thought, what's that all about? And then, because when they were handed the cards, they should have just read out the names and had the people come up. It should have just been done one after another, one after another. And the members were restricted to 3 minutes. Great. That means you could get 3 minutes. Yes, you could get 20 members speaking in an hour. And we had plenty of time. But it was broken up with elected politicians who had already told us the route that he favoured. So that's what the elected politicians were going to have to follow. But at the end of his speech, Humza said something very interesting. He said, I'm looking forward to hearing the contributions from the members on the route forward. That was all great. Until we go to the second session. And everybody that got up to speak, none of them. And I don't mean any disrespect to the people because they were all valid points. One of the points was, how do we get the youth involved? What's that going to do with the route to independence? How do we combat a corrupt media? What's that going to do with the route to independence? Humza just given us a plan A. We were there to speak about routes to independence, so the members who were speaking should have been speaking about routes to independence. They should not have been speaking about how do we get the youth involved. Very important, but not a matter of debate of the day. The convention was called the Convention on the Route to Independence. And how do we combat a corrupt press? Very, very relevant. Ruth Watson spoke eloquently, as she always does. Wonderful person, Ruth. And very critical of the media. But that's not the point. The point is, by this time, Doug was looking at me, I was looking at Doug, and Sarah had got up and left. Sarah said to Doug and I, I'm not sitting here, this isn't about independence, or routes to independence. So Doug and I are sitting there, and one speaker after another was punctuated by a politician, whether it be a councillor, or or whether it had been an MP or an MSP. So the members get 3 minutes, they were getting 10, 12, 15 minutes. So you only maybe, in the first session, I think we got 7 or 8 members to speak. Out of that 7 or 8 members, only one, and that was the boy for the London branch, actually said anything about a route to independence. And that was that he thought that we shouldn't bother even thinking about calling an election or a plebiscite election until we had 67% constantly in the polls. He said 2/3. Right? So he also said, by the way, folks, you're not going to like what I've got to say, but he gave his opinion, but that was an opinion on the route to independence. Now, eventually, I looked at Doug, and Doug looked at me and says, Davy, it's time to go. There isn't any point in sitting here because we're not going to hear about a plan B. Either this was deliberately being steered away from routes to independence after the First Minister had given his opinion, or the chair had lost control. This is very important. We were there specifically to debate the way forward on independence, the route to independence. Now, I don't know whether I'd have been called to speak or no in the third session. I just wasn't hanging about for it. Because on the second session, we weren't talking about the route to independence. I mean, we've got a plan A now. Plan A is the plebiscite election. But there should have been a plan B put in place if they didn't recognise the result of that plebiscite general election. But no, there was no discussion of the route forward for independence at all. None. So either it was deliberately manipulated away from the subject, or the chair had lost control. Now, they were shuffling through the cards. On the cards we were given, if you wanted to speak, we were told, put your name, your branch, and what it was you wanted to speak about. Right? So when they were shuffling through the cards, they should have been filtering out everything that wasn't about the route to independence. So we shouldn't have been hearing about how do we get the youth involved. That's a wider debate. This convention was supposed to be narrow. The parameters were supposed to be on routes forward to independence. But after Holmes had said the next general election, in his point of view, should be a plebiscite election, where a majority of MPs and a majority of the vote, then they would sue for negotiations for independence. But after that, the chair seemed to have lost control, because everybody who got up, or who was allowed to speak, was speaking about everything but a plan B. We now have a plan A. The plan A is a general election. The UK general election is a plebiscite election. But no member who was allowed to speak broached the subject of a plan B. Now, as I say, we left, I don't know whether I'd have been called to speak or no, because we were told they weren't going to fit everybody in. Why the chair was shuffling through the cards, that's a matter of that's a matter of interest. I'll ask the party why the chair was shuffling through the cards and picking who was speaking next, instead of just lifting the top card and saying the name of the person and their branch, and then taking the next card, the name of the person and their branch, taking the next card, the name of the person and the branch. I'll give you an example. I put my card in. Pete Wishart put his card, Ruth Watson put her card in, followed by Pete Wishart, as far as we could see, because you could see everybody in the hall filling out the cards and holding back, and there wasn't that many filled out or handed back. I reckon for the first session in the afternoon, there was only about 20 cards. And then a few more were added as people during the first session wanted to go up and speak. But I don't know whether it was deliberately moved away from speaking about routes to independence. Maybe that's why they were shuffling the cards. Maybe the people who had a different idea for Humser, maybe their cards were being pulled. But except for the boy from London who said that we shouldn't be thinking about this until we have 67% in the poll. That was the only other contribution on route to independence. So by the end of the second session, Doug and I are sitting there into the third session. We'll get the the minister in charge of gaining independence speaking and giving us a spiel. 10 minutes into his spiel, I said, "Oi, enough! We're here to hear for the members, not the elected officials." Boy in front of me turns around and says, "They are members." But it doesn't matter. Holmes had already told them what Plan A was. We were there to hear for the membership on what they thought the route to independence was. Session number 3, and not a single member had spoke about the route to independence except for the boy for the London branch of the same. And the boy from London branch said, "You're not going to like what I've got to say." So there we are, with the first session telling us what the First Minister thought was the route to independence. At the end of that speech, he says, "I look forward to hearing what we thought was the route to independence." And then nobody, as far as I can tell, got to speak about a Plan B. Now, it might just be that the chair had lost control, but it didn't look like it from where we were sitting. Sarah was the first to spot it. She said, "David, they're shuffling the cards. Why are they shuffling the cards instead of just lifting the top card, reading the name and the branch and the member coming to the podium?" They were filtering through the cards and taking cards out. So, session 2, the first of the sessions in the afternoon, nothing about a Plan B or a route to independence. Into third session, Jamie Hepburn's talking to us about after independence or gathering support for independence. So to say, by this point, I was a wee bit annoyed, and I did call out, "Hey, enough! We're here to hear from the members on the route to independence." Jamie took the heckle. Well, I thought I heard something and carried on. That was 15 minutes or 20 minutes he was waffling. At 3 minutes a pop, that would have been 7 members that could have got up and spoke on their ideas on a route to independence. If any of the members had actually put on their card that they had a plan. And I was thinking to myself as I looked at all the dignitaries round about, it was noticeable that Angus Brendan McNeill wasn't there. That's the guy that advocates that we should have a Scottish plebiscite election for independence, because we would have a wider a voter base. We would have 16, 17-year-olds, we would have European nationals. And we would have asylum seekers and that who are all being given the right. Anybody who lives here was given the right to vote. Now, we're moving on to regional assemblies. Now, if the regional assemblies are going to be controlled the same way that that particular convention was controlled, then we're wasting our time. Because we have a new Plan A, but we need a Plan B. And I say, we left just after 3 o'clock, and only Plan A had been discussed. And it looked as if the chair had either lost control or was deliberately picking who was going to speak. As I say, why they were going through the cards at all, I don't know. When the chair was handed these cards, the chair should have just took the... Did tell us we weren't all going to get to speak, fair enough. We're told we were only get 3 minutes. 3 into 60, 20 members an hour. It was 2 in the afternoon, the convention was the stop to 5. We could have 60 members speak. 60! We could have 60 voices telling us their ideas of the route forward. But that's not what happened. What happened was the chair went through the cards, picked the speakers and the subjects that were going to be spoken about. And I'm going to finish up by saying, as I say, the contributions were good, but none of them spoke about a route to independence, a Plan B. I don't know whether the chair had just lost her way or whether it was deliberate. But Mr. Youssef distinctly said at the end of his speech, he was looking forward to hearing from members on their ideas on the route to independence, and as far as I can tell, all the people who were selected to speak, they had valid points to make. How do we combat the corrupt press? We had how do we get the youth involved? But that was irrelevant to the debate we were having. So either the chair had lost the plot, or they were deliberately manipulating the subjects being spoken about. I'll write to the party to find out whether the chair had lost the plot, or whether they were deliberately manipulating what was being spoke about after the First Minister spoke. Now, to be fair, we now have a route forward, and I'm very pleased about that. But it still looks as if the NEC are tightly controlling this debate. I will be going to the Central Belt Region convention on this. I'm angry, Sarah. That, of course, is if the SNP don't kick me out for criticising this convention today. Because this convention today was not the members getting to tell the party how they thought we should advance the case for independence. This was the First Minister telling us his ideas, and the First Minister saying quite specifically he looked forward to hearing what the members thought the route forward was. And then nobody spoke about the route forward. Let's hope the regional conventions go better than this one did, because that was out of control. We were up there for one specific reason. It should have been a very narrow debate, and that should have been on what the party members thought was the way forward. No, how do we get the kids involved? No, how do we sort out this abysmal situation with the press? We were only there to debate what the members thought were the route forward to independence. That's a very narrow debate. That's not what happened, folks. That wasn't what happened. So that's my summary of the convention up until the point where I said, what's the point of sitting here listening to this? Now, I don't know whether they cared when my name came out later or no. It doesn't matter. I wasn't staying there to listen to how do we get kids involved. That's a different debate.
Mr. McKinnon, can you say about the wee woman that was suffering in pain for 32 years? Human, thought, speech.
Now, kudos to Humza. Halfway through his speech, a wee woman who had an issue with her health got up and started shouting, "This is a bloody disgrace." She's a poor independent supporter, and that's what the party member. And obviously, she just boiled over, and because the First Minister was there, she had a pot. The First Minister stopped us. To be fair to him, he stopped. He went down off the podium, he went up and met the young lady, the woman, he spoke to her, and then he took her to one side, hopefully for an official to take the details and try and get something done to help the woman.
What has been in pain for 2 years?
So, to be fair to Humza, he did stop the debate altogether to go and see what the issue was, and then went back to the podium. But as I say, I'm rounding it up here, folks. Wonderful first session. We now have a plan A. Afternoon sessions looked as if the chair had either lost the plot or was deliberately manipulating the conversation away from plan B. I will be writing to the party to find out whether the chair had lost the plot or whether it was deliberate manipulation by the NEC to take us away from the debate. We were there to speak about one subject only. And anybody who had submitted a card to speak that wasn't on the way forward for independence, that card should have been put to one side. And people who were there to speak about the way forward for independence, the route to independence, they should have been called to speak. No disrespect to our good friend Ruth Watson, absolutely fantastic journalist, fantastic friend. But we weren't there to talk about abysmal press. We weren't there to talk about how we get the youth involved. I'll leave it with that, folks. We now have plan A. I'm very pleased with plan A. I'll be going to the Central Regional Convention to try and put forward a plan B. I was going to try and put forward a plan B today, I understood we weren't all going to get to speak, but we were there for a very narrow debate, and we didn't have a narrow debate. Anyway, that is my summary of the convention today. We have a plan A. The next general election will be a plebiscite election. Majority vote, majority MPs, they're going to sue for negotiations for independence. You keep the faith, eyes on the prize. We now have a plan A. And I'm pleased to say we have a plan A. I'm disappointed that the members didn't speak specifically on the issue that we were there to speak about, or the NEC had deliberately taken us away from the subject. That's what it looked like to me, Doug Copley and Sarah. Sarah got up and left at the beginning of the third session. She says, this isn't about a route to independence. She got up and left. That tells you something. Right, listen guys, I'll see the folk in the Central Belt at the Central Region Convention, where hopefully the members will get to put forward their views on the route to independence. Know how to get kids involved, how to deal with the press, the route to independence.